Donttap podcast.
Donttap podcast.
You do the process, the tape, the study, the narrative, the script.
And a little bit of a downfall from a champ.
When we're looking at value on the lines.
That definitely, I think, in some of the handicappers I talked to, has influenced the gambling line.
Appreciate that. I'm sorry what I'm going to have to do to you in this little matchup we got.
Thank you. I was going to say, okay, enough niceties. Let's dig in.
He can pressure in the first, he can pressure in the second, and pressure in the third.
I'm Gentleman Josh Hill. I'm Aaron Jeffrey.
I'm Josh.
I'm Mike Malott.
I'm Rafian Scott.
Tune in to Donttap
Donttap
podcast.
Donttap
podcast.
I'm Jones.
Follow me on Twitter.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
Ole, 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 ole. All right, so it is time. We haven't, you and I haven't chopped it up in a little while. We got Billy Briz from PubSportsRadio back, but I mean, we just couldn't miss this one. There's been a lot going on, but I mean, both of us have been putting out content like crazy. I know Billy has been really a big part of, you know, a little bit of, I don't want to say overhaul, but like I want to say a slight renovation of what PubSports Radio is doing, and they're adding on new things and bringing new shows, and it's been pretty stellar. So I love what you guys have been doing over there, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that. Even on the way out, I want you to bring up the show and talk about that too. But we have UFC 315 Montreal, and I know that I just want you to maybe highlight. I do want to sort of catch up with you, so I do want you to maybe highlight anything from the past couple of weeks that sticks out to you. I was actually trending over 70% on pretty much everything I was hitting because of this new sort of approach with data right in front of my face from AI. Until last week was a little bit of a rough patch, and that was. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. I want to try to trend over a certain percentage with this new approach. So, and really see if it's actually a thing or if I'm just on another good streak. So, but for you, what sort of stuck out in the past couple of weeks? I mean, Ian Gary, that was the biggest podcast night, at least as far as plays I put out ever. So, what was your big moment in the past little bit?
I feel like we've just been on a nice little roll since that time that we talked about the Brandon Moreno-Steve Erceg fight. That card was the last time that we talked to each other.
That was a money card.
Yeah, it was a money card. We smashed that card. And then after that was Emmett and Murphy. That one had a couple good spots in it. And then after that was the pay-per-view with Volkanovski and Lopez. I think we did talk briefly, or we might have, but that was the Paddy Pimblett week. And then Gary Prates did lose on the main event, but overall it was a really good week for the parlays. Unlike last week where it all came crashing down, might be a hard stop on American Pro Wrestling in college. Collegiate kids coming over to MMA.
That Bo Nichols spot was crazy, but you know what spot actually sort of irks me that I didn't jump on? I was actually looking at a spot for Bolanos through the data and breaking down all these things in front of me, and everything was screaming Lee to take him down. I thought he might win decision by just takedowns and whatever else. But I mean, man, that was just a missed dog because that just didn't even look fair. That fight. It was once he started taking him down, it was just fish out of water. So, but yeah, we moved into UFC Montreal, and man, I'm pretty pumped up. I actually I got into my MMA dork mode and was DMing back and forth with Chris Prickett from Niagara Top Team. I felt bad because I was just running his ear off, and I was like, look, man, I'm sorry. I'll back up. But I was just sending him some stats, man. I just found some interesting stats out that we're going to talk about. And I have a feeling because I don't want to say I converted you to Jasmine, but we started the journey together, I think, with Jasmine. Right around the same time you started on the podcast, we started, it was Dana White Contender Series. Jasmine was a conversation that was had. And so, yeah, I think that she will likely be played for you because you're a little bit of a mark for her now, too. And that's okay. But who wouldn't be at this point? When we go through some numbers today, it's going to be crazy. But you know what? UFC 315, let's just get right into it. And we'll start off with round number one. So for round number one, as per usual, we're just going to let Billy take it away. We got to let the guest. Actually, I think I let you take it away every round, but we'll do that. So you start off, and I will talk about the homer play of the week.
Yeah, well, I gotta credit you for this one. We've been kind of backing Jazzy on this little momentum shift change after the Tracy Cortez fight, 4-fight win streak. I've really credit to you for that time spent in Thailand prior to that last camp before MBS, and they're putting their chips in the middle, and I'm right there with them. Another champion on the docket this weekend with Jessica Anaraj. And with Jessica Anaraj, I don't know, man. This is just like metrics are the first thing I look at in a Jasmine Jasovicius fight. And metrically speaking, she's just a way bigger, stronger physical girl. Jessica Anaraj is historically known for, being a power puncher and stuff like that. But I think that's just going to invite the takedowns here. One way I've been kind of attacking the fights of recent is kind of copy and paste Jillian Robertson fight from last week was playing the money line and the over 1.5 takedowns. Because I think regardless of how the fight goes, I think she's going to get 1.5 takedowns. Even if she does finish early in the second round, I think it would come with 2 takedowns. On ESPN Bet is one of the sports books that you can put the same game parlay of the money line and over 1.5 takedowns. And I did it with Jillian last week because I wanted to parlay her, but I couldn't find a dance partner to parlay with. So I SGP'd it, and it was only minus 125. And if we get anywhere below minus 150 with Jasmine with that, I think I'm going to hammer it now that I got a little bit more familiar with it, played it a little bit throughout the last couple of weeks since the last pay-per-view. I think Jasmine's the spot this week, though.
Yeah, so for the one thing for me with this one, it's not that there's really a conflict for me on this, but Andrade's been somebody who I've backed when nobody else has. Andrade's someone who I know she went on her losing streak because she was sort of forced in with her personal issues. I've been backing her as a dog, and she's great at dog money because she does have the power in her hands. But yes, the size is going to be a problem. And yes, this is the matchup that gives Andrade a problem. The person that can grapple her and get her to the ground and just smash her. And a violent wrestler is not a good match for her at all. She's going to get fucked up in here. And what this is really, and you'll hear Chris talk about this. This is a perfect matchup for Jasmine. She loves this kind of matchup. Someone who punches hard, someone who comes forward and throws their everything into all their punches and then gets taken down. And Jasmine can hang on the feet, man, and she's proven it. It's not just a matter of us just saying it's she's serviceable on the feet or that she's her strike differential is now where she's landing more than she's absorbing. She's turned that right around. And I know that some of that is on the ground as well, too, but she's been smart enough with the fight IQ that if she feels like she's actually getting tagged up now, she ducks under and she's taking the girl to the ground or getting her to the cage. It's sort of crazy. There's some of the stats that I was going through. I put out a big profile thing on her today. She now is third in control time ever in flyweight women's history. She has 54 minutes and in change of control time. And that control time isn't just crotch sniffing control time. I know that sounds horrible when we're talking about WMMA, but it's not just I'm holding someone down and just doing nothing with it. She is one of the most violent individuals in not only just women's MMA, but when it comes to the ground, I would say in MMA right now. She's one of the more violent. You see the destruction on people's faces. She's her and Jillian is the same, cut from the same cloth in that way. She's trying to scrape that elbow across your face to cut your face open, to start to make a panic in you and then force you to either move to a submission and or that TKO is coming. In the world now where 12-6 elbows are available, and I'm going to have to give a slight credit to Dissection of Violence. Now, he can't talk about the fight camp, and he's not going to get into specifics, and he was very careful on his approach, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'll let you guys know, but there'll be a bonus section at the end of this. You're actually going to get 3 rounds of Dissection of Violence and his 3 picks for the week. So we're going to add that in at the end. It actually is from a technical issue, but we're going to play it as a bonus setup where we have Dissection of Violence for 3 bonus plays. But when he did talk about Jasmine, he said she looks very, very fucking violent, very violent in training camp right now. And whether it's on the feet, I can't imagine that there's much more violence than maybe some clinch work on the violence, throwing some elbows and knees. I think this is just going to be mat violence, and he didn't get too specific. But I do know that when talking with Chris Prickett both times before each fight, including today, you're just looking at the idea of that she loved the idea of the 12-6 elbow. She wants to work on positioning to gain full control so she can start to just land. She wants a finish and not by a submission here. She's done that. She bought the t-shirt. How fitting would it be? And I said this to Chris. How fitting would it be? Jasmine wins by a TKO on the ground, just smashing her on the ground. Gets up, they get the mic in front of her, and she says, I don't care who you give me. There's 4 women left on the card tonight that all have my target on them. And I got you too, Silva. And so she could say any one of them. Call them all out. Call all of them out because she is in that spot. She'll be 9th, and if she does, pull off this victory, she's going to be ranked like 7th or whatever the hell it is, and she is ready for a title shot at any point. As far as her skill set, as far as everything else, yes, Shevchenko is this legend, but eventually the wheels fall off that. I don't care what – although she's got the belt back, she's older. That time is going to come to an end, and Jasmine has the style set to put everybody on notice. No one wants to fight her right now. I guarantee you it's a higher risk fight in a lot of situations. Then Talia Silva fight's very interesting. And now I'm jumping into other things, but I just think in this fight, she's going to bring the violence. You can even look at this from if you want to just look at the violence standpoint. I think it's at plus 110 or for the fight not to go the distance or under 2.5. So, I mean, that's a way to look at it. I'm sure the line's moved a bit. I put out now weekly where I have spots I really like 5 ways to bet the fight. If you're on the side I'm suggesting, if I'm looking at Jasmine, and it'll be the out where you'll have the fight doesn't go the distance where it gives you both sides of it, if that's a potential or whatever it is. But Jasmine all day, Jasmine spades. Now I'm rambling because I love when fighters go from what looks like just sort of a basic ass fighter, and no offense to how she was, to where the hell she is now, because it's not even close. It's night and day. The growth is absolutely beautiful. So round number 1, Jasmine Jasudavicius. I mean, you can parlay her up, but I think there's a lot of different angles that you could actually just play this straight up. I like Jasmine and the fight to start round 2. That's my play. If it's minus 190, guess what? I'm throwing the fucking bank at it. I'm good with it. I don't give a fuck. I'll play the chalk. Chalk's been winning, baby.
And do you feel like, because Bet365 has some props out, and I looked at it, and it was Jasmine Jasudavicius money line over 1.5 minus 125.
I mean, she like the one approach that she has, she's methodical, right? She doesn't have necessarily knockout power. She beats you with pressure and not backing down to your punches. And she beats you with pressure and gets you to the cage and slowly works you. And she's methodical with her approach. And I don't know if I see Andrade giving up a submission in round 1. I don't know if I see, necessarily that it gets there. I don't see it progressing there yet. So yeah, could this go over 1.5 rounds? 100%. I mean, normally you wouldn't like that extra half round if you're worried about somebody knocking somebody out on the feet coming out of that gate. And if that's not the worry, I mean, it's not a bad play.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you're playing with a little bit of fire, but just one way to look at it, because I'm with you. Jasmine and Wynn fight to start round 2 has been a way we kind of been attacking it. It's been working out for us, and it kind of opens up the scenario where it's like any method of victory. Because I definitely think it could play out. I hate to say the Jillian Robertson fight because it's in recent memory, but like it could definitely be some fucking ground and pound knockout type of shit. And you'd be mad as fuck if you played the submission or decision at minus 180.
I'm already going to be playing it. When he sort of brought that up, it was already something that was in my head anyways, because I know that she wants to bring the violence. It was something that when Chris was talking about it, it's just like those elbows are now in training. There's multiple things that they're doing. So plus 650 for a girl who dominates everybody on the ground. And her opponent now is somebody who's been finished inside the cage because she's bang or bust. She's gassing out on the ground, maybe bloodied up a little bit. Doesn't go out, but she just can't stop the volume of elbows. And then all of a sudden the referee jumps in. And a plus 650 or plus 550, whatever it turns out to be, cashes. Obviously, another angle people can look at is her in the 3rd round. I know we're rambling on here, but she's been notoriously methodical with her approach going into the 3rd round. I think this one, if it does ends a little bit earlier. I think it's a late 2nd round finish, in my opinion. But just my opinion.
Could be a sprinkle on the knockout prop rounds 2 or 3 on FanDuel. You know how they put the combos in there? You can get 1 or 2 or 2 or 3. I would go 2 or 3 by knockout. Probably get double the odds.
Yeah, like guys, don't go too crazy. I have my main play is Jasmine to win and fight to start round 2, and I'm just going to sprinkle the KO one. But whatever you do with whatever prop you find, just don't go heavy on the extra shit. Stay solid on what we know is probably going to hit at a high clip and go from there. But we can talk to our blue in the face, and people are just going to call me a homer and you fucking tailing, tell you to jump over to Canada, move to Canada, and you're going to hear a bunch of shit. So we'll move on to round number 2. So for round number two, we'll let you take it away.
No, you got to take this one away here.
Okay, for round number 2, I'm actually going to come with somebody that is actually one of Jasmine's nemesis, actually somebody who built who we just talked about, and somebody who is a highly talented fighter. And I see money coming in on Grosso now. Actually, what's the line currently sitting at? I saw at least some attention online that was interesting.
The line is currently at, I believe, 230 here for FanDuel on Natalia Silva plus 176 on coming.
Yeah, so it hasn't moved too much. I saw a bunch of chatter online. I thought maybe the line would move a little bit, but yeah, I'm talking about Natalia Silva, and I think that if we're really going to look at this fight and break down how it plays out, like if it goes to the ground, what are we talking about? Most people don't realize Natalia Silva is known for her jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows her as a striker. Well, the reason why she caught Jasmine off guard, this is a great fight to understand how good she was. Everybody knew her before she went away when she was younger as a grappler, right? And a high-level BJJ grappler. So now she comes back and she's got this footwork like in spades and this volume for days. And she's got the kicks, she's got the strikes. And for me, it just comes down very simply to the level of attack. She's going to have the volume on Grosso. And although I absolutely have been a Grosso backer and I love her boxing, I just don't know if she's going to be able to close the distance on Silva the way she needs to. Those kicks are going to be a problem coming out of both switch stances. The volume is going to be a problem. And I just think she's sort of facing a younger, fresher, I dare I say it, Shevchenko. And I'm not saying that she's legendary, but stylistically wise, she's got the feet and all the attributes, and then she doesn't care if it goes to the ground. So Grasso can't threaten with a good time on the ground because she'll gladly have it. So I actually started this looking at, because I think everybody, when they looked at this, they looked at Grosso, level check, they looked at the value on the dog line, they saw it at plus 160 or whatever the hell it was when it first opened, and I couldn't find my way there. And usually I find my best spots when I flip on what I initially thought. You know, if I'm looking at stats and everything's staring at me in the face, and then I look at tape to back it, Natalia Silva is going to be the play. It'll be the same way, and I don't care. I'll cash it for days. It's going to be Natalia Silva fight to start round 2. And it's going to be chalk, but it's going to cash, and I'm going to be right. And if you tail, it's a high probability. Like it's a passing of the guard. I think although Grosso was, she had a great story and a great run, I don't know if the skill set and the tools are going to be able to match up against some of these girls coming up now. So, yeah, give me Natalia Silva. I just think that she is a problem, and I'm very interested to see in that rematch with her and Jazz.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to be walking away with a new number 1 contender this weekend, and I think it's going to be Natalia Silva, unfortunately. I think Alexa Grasso is a good fighter, but, I think it's a little bit of betting bias of just, cashing that one moment against Valentina on the John Jones card. But overall, though, I just don't see where she has the edge in this fight. Like, she doesn't have the volume advantage. I don't think maybe submission skills, but not really. I mean, like, it just feels like a 29-28 decision. Like, short, sweet, simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, like, even betting her by decision feels like you're betting like a KO to happen. It just doesn't feel likely. Like, it's like, where do we see it happening that way? Because if Silva doesn't put up the volume, does it mean she went to the grappling? And if she went to the grappling, I mean, although Grosso's really slick, Silva's really one of those elite level BJJ girls. So it's very interesting. But I think this is where Silva puts everybody on notice. She takes that number 1 spot, and I just think that there's going to be a lot of hype around the women in this card. I think that we're going to see Jazz perform the way she needs to. We're going to see Silva perform the way she needs to, and then we're going to have the Shevchenko fight. And we'll talk about that one after as well too. But yeah, man. I guess we'll move into your spot now. Just give me 1 second, and you take it away for round number 2. Billy, what's your spot, man?
Yeah, round number 2 here, we're going to be looking at a future bout of the night here. The King of Rio taking on Ayman Zahabi. This is just one of those type of system plays here where I feel like the favorite is just too wide. Like, I think Jose Aldo should be the favorite, but I mean, minus 250 for a fight that should go 15 minutes to back the favorite. I mean, what has Jose Aldo has been lying as an underdog a lot of recent since he's came back versus Ayman Zahabi, who just keeps on being market mispriced since coming back from COVID. His last fight against Munoz was the only time he's been favored since his last 5 fights. So it's like, I got to roll with probably fight goes the distance as a parlay piece like something, one of those time prop parlays. And then just a little sprinkle here on I'm in Zahabi by decision here at plus 260. I think that line's too high. I don't think he's has any chance of knocking out Jose Aldo. I don't think he's submitting Jose Aldo, nor do I think he's going to go for too many takedowns. So his best chance is to win by decision here.
So your official pick on it is Zahabi, and then your official play is
quarter unit Zahabi by decision plus 260, and then probably find a dance partner with fight goes the distance.
Got it. Okay. So rather than sort of let you know how I want to talk about this one and sort of my thoughts on it, I guess we'll just jump right into round 3. The King of Rio, and every time we talk about him, I always bring up the most awkward moment in my life was when I interviewed him right at the Rogers Center, right at the field, and he was this short little man and scary as fuck. And that was when he was younger, not a dad, and well, maybe he had one kid, but he was a scary young man with the big scar on his face, and he was a lot faster then, though. But his boxing wasn't as good then. His boxing wasn't as good. He threw a lot more leg kicks then. I'd like to see that again, but his boxing wasn't as good. And I think predominantly, if we look at what this fight's going to be, it's going to be a boxing match between two guys that, like to throw hands predominantly. And one is just like the skill set on the feet isn't even in the same hemisphere. Although Zahabi can lull guys in with his style, and I backed him many times. And comparatively, you want to look at his style to like a Kyle Nelson, where he can slow guys down and slow them into his pace and then catch them with a big shot. And or more recently, he's actually volumed up a little bit, but still he's lulling guys in and then landing big shots. And that's what looks good in the judges' scorecards. It's just, I don't think he's going to be able to lull Jose Aldo in. I don't see that happening. That jab is going to be popped in his face nonstop. And then any threat of any kind of a takedown, if he ever does want to go there, I mean, he's not going to be taking Aldo down. And if he does, I don't know why you would want to in the first place. Sure, top control. I think that would be maybe a good place for him to gain some points and whatever else. But, not to fade a Canadian, but people keep fading Aldo, but he keeps winning, right? And I keep making money off of Aldo and people fading Aldo. So him coming back, I get it, because it's like, is he 1 foot out? Like, is he really back? But it's like, well, he performed pretty fucking stellar in his last fight. And that boxing is still, like, if I look at the matchup makes fights, I don't see this playing out on the ground. And all I see is a stand-up battle. And if we're looking at Zahabi, I think you maybe play it Zahabi inside the distance, that he actually knocks out Aldo. That's the only way I could really see him winning this fight. I don't see, like, I was in talking with a couple other guys too, like maybe he catches him early in the fight and then Aldo has issues through the fight getting back to it. Like, that's another scenario, which is sort of a left field scenario. I just think that there's levels to this shit, and old man Aldo ain't old man Aldo yet. So
yeah, there's got to be a price prohibiting point of like, I'm not parlaying Jose Aldo minus fucking 250, bro. That's tripping, bro. Like, that's the reason why it makes the round of like
him around minus 200 or maybe minus 190. But like I get it, like, because of like the questions that I sort of put out there. It's like, do you want to parlay him? How do you play it? From a gambling standpoint, it's a little bit more difficult, but I will just play it again. I don't think this fight I think it gets into the second round, and I'm going to just do it again, and it's boring, but I'm giving you breakdowns, and I'm not going out on crazy limbs, and I'm not suggesting that's what you're doing but that I have dogs too this week, and I'll put out those plays as well. That's not what I'm suggesting. I've been going on like some prop shit and like playing on the dog in the main event that you think's going to hit, or that you pretty much know is not going to hit, and playing his KO and shit like that. Those were a couple of plays I had put out and sprinkled out there, and I want to play it nice and tight this week. I just think Aldo, I mean, if Zahabi proves me wrong as a fan, I'm Canadian. I'll be conflicted because I'm an Aldo fan, but I'll be happy for Zahabi. But I just don't see him getting there. I just don't think that power's there.
Fight being like so slow pace that they're judging like 35 strikes throughout the whole entire fight, throughout the 3 rounds, and it's like, all right, we really don't know who the fuck won. And it's like a split decision. Fuck it. Let's just give it to Zahabi. It's like, what are they really doing with the Jose Aldo experience here? I mean, yeah, the last win over Mario Bautista. I mean, the last fight against Mario Bautista. It's just like, it's just like, yeah, he gave Merab Davashvili his best fight, but the Mario Bautista fight, I don't know, man. If you were really the king of Rio and they were pushing you for like win those title fights, fuck you losing to Mario Bautista getting held up against the cage for 15 minutes.
But do you see the hobby holding up against the cage and potentially winning a stupid decision? Yeah, not at all.
He just looks.
But no, I get your point, but it's like I think that like with the one thing about Aldo is even if Zahabi does gain an edge in the striking at any point, his ability in fights against way better strikers than Zahabi in the past is his ability to pop his jab out there and regain control with his jab, with his boxing has been like it's stellar, man. And a lot of fighters don't realize that. Like if you can gain control with your jab, even when you're not in a good way on the feet, that's huge. That's going to regain control and get guys pushed back and try to do it like, especially with he's got a power jab. Like he pops it and he'll put your head back. So it's much like what Ian Gary was even popping Prate's head with a little bit of jabs at points too. And I'm not suggesting he's this big power puncher, but if there's enough pop in your strikes and you're throwing out great technique, you're going to rock heads and get points. So I don't know, man. But I like that we're on either side. I didn't want to fucking agree with you and have a homer plays all week and be all sweet about it. But it's really odd that you're on the Canadian side and I'm going to Brazil. So King of Rio for me and Ayman Zahabi for the American. All right, so for round number 3, what's your spot, brother? I know that that was the end of your round number 2. I come in with Aldo on the counter. What is your round number 3?
Yeah, round number 3 here is going to be a main card parlay. It's not the one that's going to, be the Twitter screenshot of the week or the one that's going to get you, the thousands of dollars, but it's going to cash this week. Benoit Saint Denis and Belal Muhammad to like parlay minus 155 at Bet365. It's just one of those spots where like Kyle Prepelic coming in on short notice. Yeah, I liked what I've seen outside the UFC's going 4-1, was preparing for Michael Duford. We had our little moment of sunshine with Michael Duford in PFL. Definitely a legit fighter, but this just feels like I don't know why the UFC's been doing this year, but they've been having like the huge favorite in like the heel role of like, this feels like the Mason Jones fight from last week of like Mason Jones, Jeremy Stevens, not saying the styles of fight, but just like BSD's probably just going to either unanimous decision him or get his back on the ground, but it could just be a stalemate for a little bit. I think BSD could get a highlight finish if he wants to, put his life on the line for it. But this just seems like a fight for him to get back in the win column. Good sign that he's wants to stay on the card after the fight cancellation. It's not like he was like, fuck it. He's like, no, I'm ready to fight, ready to go. Because 2024 was not a good year for him. I mean, talk about the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. We're picking him to beat Dustin Poirier damn near, as a community. And then it follows up by the Moicano knockout. There's good points of BSD, but when he fights a lower level of competition, he seems to pass the test. And then the main event, I love Jack Della Maddalena, one of my guys. I just think this is a little bit too much too soon for him here, man. One of the best boxers in the UFC at the welterweight division, but there's time and time again where, yeah, you could say the submission defense is fine. We've seen him get out of some scrambly spots on the ground. It's just the wrestling is just going to be a problem here, where like Belal Muhammad has the ability to kind of blend the level of striking.
Thank you. What is wrong with everybody this week? I don't understand. How do you let hate get in the way of your bets? I don't get it. I fucking don't get it. If there was ever a hedge play, at least for a parlay, at least go that way. But people are not even doing that. People hate on Ian Gary, but he wins by decision and he controls the whole fight. People hate on Belal Muhammad. He's not fucking exciting, but he wins by decision. People even chat on Mike Malott for his last fight. After they chatted him for the opposite thing before, for fading and trying to go for the kill, they then get pissed off at him for going with a decision. So fans want to say you're shit for a decision, and then that's what champions do, though. That's what the higher level guys do. They win by decision. That's what Israel Adesanya does. So I'm with you on this 1000%. If there was ever time you could put Bilal in a fucking 2-piece and potentially cast, but also set up. Like I set up Protez by KO. I had Ian Gary all lined up at 50,000 ways in parlays, and I had Protez lined up with a little bit of extra. And there's ways to set this fight up because I think honestly, I don't think Della Maddalena wins a decision. I think he gets him out of there by actually getting to his body and getting to work. And that's the only way. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that. The only thing I would be scared about is the Kyle Prepelic fight. And it's only because of this. And I always say this. Is BSD's durability finally going to catch up with him? Is it finally gone? Because he's taken a lot of beatings, a lot of fucking beatings. And although I think that he's definitely a venomous man, and Prepelic, although he was getting ready for a regional scene fight here in Toronto, or in Montreal, sorry, he has power in his hands, though. He has that knockout power. And that's the only thing that scares me about everybody going to the window on BSD this week. And I know they think it feels like it's short notice, but he was, I believe Prepelic was the main event. So he was taking the fight he was getting into very seriously.
Michael Dufford. I mean,
yeah. So
for him in PFL last season, I mean, we cashed on him, and I was trying to fade him in the next one. I was pissed.
Like I get like people going to it just because it is sort of him jumping back in, but I mean he's been in the UFC in the past, he's jumped in before, so for me I don't know, it's a sketchy one. I'm staying away from it. Even Jaydon was talking about it. He was saying that like he was unsure about it, but or actually even correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been another regional fighter that had jumped in for 1 or 2 fights and jumped back out. I think Kyle did jump in at one point a couple years back.
Yeah, went out into the UFC, but I mean, I don't think that's like a.
But it's just about the durability of BSD. I think if his durability's gone, it could get a little sketchy, man, because Kyle's got that power in his hands, and he won't give up on himself till the end. So, but yeah, no 2-piece. I can see where like the one thing, big thing is I'm fully with you on the Bilal Muhammad. I just don't get it. Like you hate on boring, you hate on cringe. But boring and cringe keeps winning. Like even Colby Covington for a while was doing the same thing, right? Like simple decision wins, volume, and cringe and pissing you off, and everybody's betting against him in bookies' favorite fucking fighters. So you guys do your thing, keep betting one way, and I'll gladly try to get some value on any lines I can. So
yeah, I wouldn't call him Canelo hands, but I mean Bilal's hands have definitely gotten a lot better.
Well, I mean, just even the way he was hovering, it's the same way even Ian Gary was hovering. There was a way that you can stay at distance and you're pressuring, but you're not fully in there and you're not putting yourself at risk. He did. Bilal did that in his last fight up against the cage when he won the belts with Leon Edwards, or not in his last fight, but when he won the belt against Leon Edwards, it was pressed up against the cage. What was that? He hasn't defended the belt yet, has he?
No, this is going to be the first title offense.
That is right. Sorry, it's just been so goddamn long. But yeah, but the way he pressured, it was like he was giving him distance enough, but then he would shoot in and close that distance. And Ian was doing the same thing with Protez, this pressure distance and just sort of closing that distance when you need to and owning space at all times. And I see it. I think it's just the spot that makes sense. So prior to what was a level check at the time, and prior to going up against Gatekeeper and Neil Magny, Mike Malott was this killer that everybody was scared of. That first round finishes. He's got 9 first round finishes. He has 10 finishes in his 11 wins. The guy's an absolute killer. And basically, the reason why he lost the Neil Magny fight is because he wanted to be that killer, not just for you, but as a fan. That's just him. He wants to fucking kill people, even though he's fight IQ and he's a smart guy. But then after that fight, he goes in and he fights Giles, who's got power in his hands and good boxing. And he plays a smart distance game and matadors him. And what Mike is suggesting is he's going to do the same thing here. He's going to matador with Radke as well too, who I don't think is on his level anywhere in this fight. I think he has will. I think he has piss and vinegar. I think he has that dog in him. Don't get me wrong. But he also just got knocked out. Yeah, it's by Protez, but I mean, Malott has fucking power everywhere. And everybody just forgot about it because, he didn't just knock out his last opponent and then because of Magny. So this is now Malott's taking a step back in competition. He's going up against a guy who's coming up in competition. And the guy's just been previously knocked out by another power puncher. I just think this is going to be a club and sub. I think Radke has a little bit of a chin on him. I think he goes to the ground, and I think Malott swarms him and subs him. I'm going to hit Mike Malott by sub. I probably will look at maybe inside the distance as well too. I think it's going to sit around plus 140. but I'm going to sprinkle the sub. I'm going to sprinkle Mike inside the distance, and that's how I'm going to attack that fight. Pretty much no other way. Fight doesn't go to decision. I mean, you could look at it like that, but I don't know Mike. I don't see Mike getting finished. He's had problems where he's got caught a couple times, but then he turns into a dog in that situation and starts throwing. So I just think this is a fight where it's another y'all must have forgot spot. Guys were hating on him for his decision when it was just it's so backwards when people hate on you for one thing 1 week and then I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I didn't make him a big play this week because I tried to tail back. I look back at all my content. I know it was really Mike Malott heavy because he was coming on the show a lot. I am a big fan of his style and what he's going to be able to do. But I just think that probably submission. I'm probably even looking at a second round submission, but I put my bets in play. Actually going to get 3 rounds of Dissection of Violence and his 3 picks for the week. I am with somebody for UFC 315 that it makes just sense to have Dissection of Violence, Jaydon Diet back. And correct me on the last name if I said it wrong. My apologies, brother. But you coming in as somebody who not only is now a fighter, and we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about your last fight and the Pancrase. That was just an awesome KO win. We're going to talk about that. Then on top of that, too, I think it sounds like you might have something coming up in the works. And then on top of that, you're one of the sharpest cappers in Canada, if not on the scene, and still under the goddamn radar as well, too. But then also you're in the room. Like you're in the rooms. You sort of see some of these fighters. You see, what their worth and how they can train and what's some of their best attributes and what the training camps are looking like. So for you, I want to talk about your last, getting ready for that first fight, that training camp. How was it for you, man? And obviously, put all that work in, and even that anticipation in the back of your mind, like you always wanted to step in the cage or step in the ring, and now boom, you come up with that KO win. So talk to me.
Yeah, brother, it's just something I've done since I was a kid. So it's competing. It's just more. I've never competed in front of that many people, obviously. So
yeah,
but I'm a showman, so it didn't really feel like anything new. I've always liked to perform, even when sparring. I like when people are watching me. I honestly am, despite having a showman's mentality, I'm pretty humble. I know where I'm good. I know where I'm not so good, and I'm working on those weaknesses every day. Honestly, though, right now I haven't really been focused on fighting. But the fight it went exactly as I thought it would. I've been very fortunate to have the coaching I do, who take the right fights, and honestly, I'm just blessed to have had such a great performance that went exactly how I envisioned it would. A lot of fights can change in an instant. You think you're going to do something, and one punch changes everything. I'm fortunate to have pretty good chin, so I'm not too worried about the round one. But this is fighting, so I'm always trying to fine tune my defense, always trying to get better, and that's I took a long time to take that first fight just because I really want to. And people always the best compliment I got after the fight was, "Wow, you look so like you look like you belong there. Like you look like you've had like 100 of these fights." And it's like because
how many Muay Thai fights do you have? Like you have a lot of Muay Thai fights under your belt, right?
Muay Thai, kickboxing is where I came from.
Got it.
Muay Thai, I have a crew that I owe all my tools from the fight. I owe him everything. My elbows, my knees. I didn't get to use my elbows, but
nice.
I fell in love with Muay Thai. It just helps me as I'm figuring out the people in the pocket. People in the pocket like to throw bombs, and the way to counter that is big elbows up the middle.
Well, UFC 315 Montreal. There's some people the teammates of yours that are even fighting on the card. We'll probably get into those because I usually talk about them. And even going down the card, man, it's a tricky one. But I took a look at some of your spots and could definitely agree on some of those as well, too. So we're going to dig in. We will start it off with round number 1.
I think my first spot, well, obvious. I can't tell people to bet this. So is this for the first spot? Is this like telling
Look,
people
if you talk about the fight, like because we're still a little bit earlier in the week, whatever fight you want to do, it could be your pick, and then sort of how you might look at betting it if you want to bet it.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Jose Aldo then as my number one because honestly, I struggle to see a world where if like obviously we're in Canada, so we maybe can get some weird, but it's gonna be the main card. I can't see. I think they're gonna have U.S. judges from the states brought in. I could just see a world where Jose gets screwed somehow, but I don't think he's gonna have an opportunity to get screwed because Eamon's just I don't know. He's just not. I don't have the skill set, in my opinion, to cause Jose problems. I think Jose. This could age very poorly. Eamon's he's a good fighter. It's just there's levels, and Aldo he's so good. And honestly, I could see a world where we can get a TKO from Aldo. I could see a world where Aldo just dominates him to a unanimous decision. But honestly, this is it's a buy low spot for Aldo. Whereas people were saying that for Bo Nickel last week, I think there's warrant behind the buy low spot. Whereas Bo Nickel's warrant was strictly off his wrestling and what he's done. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get back into that, but yeah.
So, all right, we'll move it on into round number 2.
This one's tricky because I want to say Almacan, but I don't know, man. I see some judging again, so I'm gonna stay away from that one. I'm gonna go with everyone's favorite Jasmine Jasovicius on my second one. I don't like obviously the fact that she's so juiced when honestly this is probably one of her tougher fights. Andrade is no joke. She feeds into Jazz's game, but again, I don't want to speak too much about this fight because I'm tied to the camp and I don't want
100%. You don't need to.
I will say one thing is Jazz is looking really good. She knows what she needs to do. I think TKO is probably the best for this fight. But that's just me being I don't know. Me trying to look up for a finish that I think is very. The only thing with Andrade is she never stops fighting, so the TKO could be a little hard, but I don't know.
All right, we'll go into round number 3.
This one is I honestly really like this spot. I have not played it yet. And I might play it, but I just think there's going to be a new champ. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Jack can win this fight. I'm not confident. It is a dog shot. I think Jack can get tired if he does. But the thing with Bilal is he doesn't really do enough to get people tired. Like he just, he's gonna decision him, in my opinion, if he does win. But you're giving Jack 25.
Do you think Bilal's gonna be able to sort of stand in front of him the way he does? He sort of hovers in front of guys. Do you think he's gonna be able to do that with Jack?
I don't know if he can. That's why I'm very, very light. Like, this is a maybe gamble spot. I just really think Jack. I think Jack can get a KO here. I like the way he scrambles, and when I say scrambles, I'm just looking at the fight in the 5th round with Leon. I can't unsee Bilal get on bottom at the end of the 5th getting elbowed. You give Jack an ounce of those scrambles, like opportunities to scramble. I just see him finding opportunities to scramble. Obviously. He's not going to be able to do those tricks every round, but I just think he's working with Craig Jones, Volk, guys that will get him ready for anti-wrestling. And I think he's done. If this was 3 years ago, I wouldn't want to touch this. I would think Bilal's going to smoke him. But I like Jack. I like his heart. I like his ability. He fought with a broken arm. He still got the KO versus Gilbert. I think this guy. He can back Bilal up, and if he gets Bilal to that cage, Bilal is a sitting duck to get KO'd. I think Bilal is going to shoot a lot. He says he's not going to, but I think he will. I think Jack has... If he jumps guillotine, he deserves to lose.
Yeah, 100%.
That's my worry, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to be smart and sprawl, do the right things. I think he's gonna, because I remember a lot of people were telling me, don't bet Gene Silva. I said, okay, I'm not gonna do it, because he was doing the same thing, pulling guillotines. But I believe in people. I'm gonna give someone a second chance. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I do it the reverse. It should be the other way around. But in the betting world, I had to reverse it, because honestly, he should not lose the scrambles to Bilal. I think Bilal he knows what he wants to do. He's not very diverse with his game. He's done it every single time. Wonder Boy, Leon, he gets them to the fence. He tries to get their back, ride back control. Doesn't really do much with it. Little elbow, knees to the thigh, rabbit punches. Like, I don't think that's going to work with someone like Jack. Jack is a dog. He's going to fight you for every position. The problem, like I said, is cardio. But the thing about these guys from Australia is I haven't really seen, like, obviously Steve Erceg's from like 125, but I think that whole like group of guys that train Cody Haddon, all these guys are like really, really good at scrambling. And I don't know. I think that if you're good at scrambling and you are fighting, you're not Leon that's like, oh, I'm done. This fight isn't going my way, or the exact fight I need. If you're Leon, if you're a type of like Leon, like you need to sit back, fight nice and pretty, then yeah, I'd be all over Bilal. But this isn't a fight where he's gonna get in your face. He's gonna box you. Yeah. And I distinctly remember not too long ago, Vicente Luque backing him up, making him look human, absolutely like beating him up. And I just think Bilal has looked human way too much. And you give JDM any opportunity. He had maybe, I don't know. He didn't have a lot of time with Burns on the feet. And the little time he did have in that third round, he made the most of. I think this guy is an opportunist. He's dangerous. He's a dog. He's someone you want to put money on. And I'm just saying, like, the odds are kind of getting to a place where I don't want to touch it. So I'm going to wait. But if you get one takedown, I think Bilal's going to shoot quick. Look at the lines. And if you can get plus 200 or more, plus 300, I'm putting a little bit on that, because I think Jack can build. I like the KO pre-flop. It's already plus 350, plus 250. I think the KO prop is pretty good by itself. I don't see him submitting Bilal. If he does submit Bilal, then Khabib should kick him out of the camp, honestly. I don't think Khabib should ever let him come back.
And with that, we wrap up UFC 315. We appreciate your patience with the technical issues. But remember, if you think Canada should be the 51st state, you can kick rocks, eh? And don't forget to tune into the Donttap podcast.
One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada.
I gotta protect the house. We can run with anybody in the world, Canadian. We're the best country in the world. Nobody's slowing down our make-believe militia.
Canada, one of the nastiest countries to deal with. Right. But what does that really mean? It means standing shoulder to shoulder with allies from the beginning of World War II, never shying away from the hardest battles. It means braving harsh winters that would shut down most nations. It means standing up to say, yes, we are fucking nasty. But we're not the 51st state. We are not our mistakes. We are not a northern outpost. Elbows up is not enough. You're about to feel the full wrath of the Maple Leaf Militia. So when you come north, bring a shovel. We're so polite we may even let you dig your own grave.